Hey guys, and welcome to a very special video. Today I'm going to go through a questions and answers session just to give you a little bit of insight into my drumming world, things I'm into, and what really inspires me as a drummer. Basically, I asked all of my students to submit a question that I would answer right in front of you guys today. So I've got a whole bunch of questions lined up. They're in a completely random order, so let's just have some fun and see where I go with this. So, lots and lots of questions submitted. Thanks for all those of my students who gave me a question. I'm going to start with a really obvious one then. The very first question. This is from William. He says, why did I choose drums as an instrument to learn? So we're going to go back 15 years here. I was roughly 12 years old, and for me it kind of just naturally happened. My brother and his best friend started playing guitar at school. They started jamming together, and of course my brother would say to me, oh, why don't you learn drums? Why don't you, learn to jam with us in some way? So it just seemed obvious. They were playing guitar, I stepped in and played drums. It just seemed like a really natural thing to do. And the cool thing is, 15 years later, I'm still playing with my brother, and I'm still playing with our guitarist Ross. All these years, it's been 15 years together. So that's how I sort of chose drums. It was almost like a happy accident, although I must admit when I was young I either wanted to play drums or saxophone, so it was always going to be one of those two. Okay, thanks William. The next question. This is from Jack. Jack says, how many students do you teach? And he also asks, how many classes do you teach a week or a month or a year? And finally, what is your favourite animal? Alright, cool. So how many students do I teach? At the moment I'm up to 40 students, which is the most I've ever had in my 6 years of teaching. So there are 40 of you. How many classes do I teach a week, a month or a year? Well, I'll go on last year's figures. Last year I taught just over 1,000 lessons, so you can kind of do the maths on that for the other two. So 1,000 lessons in a year, you're roughly talking at about 80 or so per month. So per week, I'm getting quite a large amount of lessons in per week. I think on average, at the moment, it seems to be about 20 to 25. It's quite a lot. So thanks, Jack. Let's answer the last part of your question. What's your favourite animal? Right, I'm a massive cat lover. I like the cat kingdom. Let me think. It's going to have to be something like a tiger or a snow leopard or a jaguar. Just any big cats, I really like them. Especially if I go to somewhere like a zoo, I'll instantly go for the cats. Alright, thanks Jack. Next question. Alright, I love this one. This is from Ken and Tom. What is your dream car? And what would be a car that you would settle for? Love it. Okay, so my dream car would have to be a Jaguar XJ220. It's an absolutely beautiful car. I think the reason I'd choose that is because when I was younger, really young, I used to have a little model car of the Jaguar XJ220. It used to go everywhere with me. I just absolutely loved it. It was one of those like British racing green colours. It's just a great car. So if I ever earn enough to afford one of those, I'll totally buy one. He says, what car would you settle for though? Okay, so more realistically, we're a Ford family here. We all drive Fords. I would love to eventually drive one of the new Ford Mondeos. I'd have to get it in black, and it would definitely have to have some kind of blacked out tinted windows to it for sure. Looks very professional. Okay, thanks for that question. Okay, there's a really good one here from Ben. Possibly my favourite question. Let's see. Name the 3 albums that have had the most Let's start that one again. Name the 3 albums that have had the most significant impact on your drumming/music career. Alright, I've got this instantly in my head. My 3 favourite albums, let's just say that, they're my 3 favourite albums. First of all is Morning View by Incubus, which is actually playing in the background of this as I'm talking. Yeah, for me it's just the perfect album. I never want to skip a song on that album. I have to play it from the beginning. And once I've started it, I have to sit and listen to it all. It's just that good. I love it so much. So that's Morning View by Incubus. The second one, I think this came out when I was in year 11, so talking about 15 years old, was Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers, featuring Chad Smith on drums. Again, once I press play, I have to just sit and listen to it all. It's such a great, complete album that deserves to be listened from the beginning to the end. And finally, I think this has really influenced the sort of music I like beyond drumming, so we're talking like melodically here and songwriting, is Echo Park by Feeder. And for those of you who don't know who Feeder are, they are well worth checking out. They're a great Welsh alt-rock band. For me, Echo Park just seemed to be like the sort of the epitome of who they are. I felt it was like when they literally reached their peak as songwriters. Again, it's a really nice complete album. It works as a whole. You can pick out great songs in it, but it just feels right to play it from the beginning to end. So my favourite albums have all got a theme. They captivate me, and I just have to listen to them all the way through. How has it affected my drumming though? Well, I'll start with the first one again, Morning View, featuring Jose Pasillas on drums. He is, without a doubt, my favourite drummer, and I've followed him since I started playing drums. I just really like the pocket he finds when he drums. He seems to like be able to twist the grooves really nicely, but still making it work for the song, which is, you know, a really important quality to have. I also love like the cymbals he uses, the way he uses them. He's a Sabian guy, and he just, again, just always like kind of brings out really odd ways of playing the cymbals, but I just really like that. Very different drumming for me, especially when I was young, listening to it for the first time. Chad Smith, he was all about the groove, so Chili Peppers, it just instantly made me think, how do you play for the song, and how do you just get a really good groove going? So I don't have to tell you guys twice, Chad Smith is the man when it comes to grooving. And lastly then, so Feeder, it was John Lee who played on that record. And I think John Lee, he wasn't a like particularly out there drummer. He just really played for the song, and he just happened to find the right fill-ins for the right time. And I think that's a really important quality to have. It's nice to be able to go off on one and play lots of crazy fills and songs, but if it ain't working for the music, then you got to really be careful there. So yeah, John Lee, he is it's just a really nicely performed album, so they're definitely my top 3. I still listen to them now, and I'll probably still listen to them until I can't. Alright, thanks. Next question. Alright, Kieran, he says, what video games do you like? And he also says, what's the most gory game you've played? Alright, so I'm a guy, I love playing video games for some downtime. I have to say my favourite video games are definitely horror. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I think when I was 9 years old I got the first Resident Evil on the Sega Saturn, and yeah, I was sold ever since. I just love playing those games. They're like, it's like horror, thriller element to them. You have to play the games quite slow, you know, I quite like that. I'm a bit of a stealth guy when it comes to that. And I think I'm also going to say it's the most gory game I've played as well. You know, it's got zombies, monsters, everything you could want in a great horror game. So that is how I prefer to spend my downtime, a little bit of gaming. Okay, next question. Let's see. Alright, this is from Jake. So Jake has 2 parts to his question. First one he says is, can you tell us a little bit about early drumming experience? And the second question is, how do I shoot my videos for YouTube? Alright, let's answer the first one. Early drumming experience. So I've already told you one. It was playing, or trying to play, with my brother and his best friend Ross. Just jamming with them and just trying to learn a couple of covers. My early drumming experience, like, I've always been a really good listener, even when I was young, which is unbelievable. I was a really good listener when I was young. I used to really just try and pick out the sounds in a track and try and emulate them on the drum kit. So for me, that was a really big thing as a kid. I just remember like really listening hard and just almost like scientifically trying to work out exactly where drum patterns go and how they fit. Other early experiences are, for me, getting my first drum kit. I worked really hard. I think this is crazy. I think what I did for a whole year was just offer to clean my parents' and grandparents' house for a little bit of pocket money, and I did that for a whole year, and I saved up £1,000 to buy my first Tama Star Classic Performer kit, which was a birch kit. So that was just a really random memory I had from a kid who just had a burning desire to get a really nice drum kit. So yeah, if you want something, you gotta earn it. Other early experiences, I remember having my first band and going out and doing a couple of like early gigs. I joined the rock school in our town, the Andover Rock School, and basically you just were in a band for a day. You'd go along, it was on a Saturday morning that would last sort of all day. You start on the Saturday morning, you get put into groups and you just go and jam and you try and learn songs to play in a concert that night. So that is a great early experience I have. It was a really cool like pressured situation because you got together in the morning, you had to decide on maybe 3 or 4 songs you wanted to learn in the day, and you had to have them ready for an evening showcase where actual parents would come along and watch. So that was a great early experience for me. Again, it's probably helped me with the whole listening skills and having a good memory as a drummer. So yeah, that was a really lovely early experience, that one. Okay, let's answer the second part. It says, how do I shoot my videos for YouTube? Jake, I know you would love to know how I do this because you ask me every lesson, so I'm going to try and explain it as quickly but concisely as possible. So I run a recording studio, so I'm fortunate enough to have lots of drum kit mics. I think I must stick up about 12 microphones around my drum set when I'm recording. And I try and separate the two sort of qualities to the video. I have the video captured on one side and I have the audio captured on the other. So they're completely different processes. So we'll start with the audio. So I have my drum kit all mic'd up, so there's about 12 microphones around it depending on the track. They're going into my studio, so there's like lots and lots of mic pre's which eventually go into Pro Tools. So I have each individual channel on Pro Tools. And at the same time, when I'm actually recording with the headphones on, Pro Tools is actually playing the backing track to me when I'm recording. So the microphones are going into the system, but the system is giving me back the music to be able to play to so I can monitor my drumming correctly. So in Pro Tools I take care of all the audio stuff. I do all my mixing in there, all the kind of editing and just general smoothing out that you'd want to do. I basically end by summing that down to a stereo track, and then I concentrate on the video side. So let's quickly talk about the video. I shoot using a GoPro Hero 3 Plus, which is what I'm recording with right now. GoPros are cool. They're just really small cameras that have really good quality and a super wide angle lens, which is really cool for a drum kit. So while I'm recording audio, I'll actually have the GoPro running at the same time, which is purely just there to capture the actual video side. I'm not interested in the audio from the GoPro. So yeah, once I've actually done my takes and I've mixed the audio, then I'll open up an editor called Adobe Premiere Elements. I'll drop the GoPro footage into that, and I'll also put the audio stereo file into a session and just begin cutting my videos together to make it look entertaining. So it takes me a long time, you know, like setting up the drum kit is at least 2 hours. You know, you got to actually learn the track as well, which takes a long time. I think by the time I've done all the editing and uploading to YouTube, it probably takes me a good 7 hours or so, 6, 7 or 8 hours depending on the toughness of the track. Okay, good question, thanks Jake. Next one, this is from Jacob. Jacob says, what was the first big gig you went to? Alright, I remember this really well. It was with my brother and our friend Ross. I think it was anyway. We went to Wembley Arena to watch Green Day play. Wembley Arena is a huge venue, and so you can imagine as a young kid going there and just hearing this like epic rock sound for the first time was a lot of fun. So for me it's Green Day, and I know you like Green Day, Jacob, so how's about that? Next question. Okay, this is from Elijah. So Elijah asks, how do you keep fit for drumming, and what's your favourite food? Alright, I'm totally gonna contradict myself here because I'm gonna give you different answers for those two parts. Okay, how do I keep fit for drumming? I keep it really simple and kind of obvious. So I'll kind of answer this I think in 4 parts. First of all, I love going running. I just want to run around. I just want to go outside, run until I'm tired, and then sit down and just chill out. I've always been the type of kid who wants to go running. So running is a great way. It's just a very all-round way to get fit. And for me, you know, it's a rarely injures me. You know, it's a very low risk in terms of like actually injuring or pulling a muscle or whatnot. So running, love running. Converts nicely to drumming as well because it's very cardio, so very like that. Next one is I try and eat well. That's the obvious one. I think if you're eating well, have a good balanced diet, then you're going to find that your fitness responds to that. Okay, so eat well. I'm going to contradict myself with that in a minute though, but not to worry. The third one, I have like a little bit of a weights routine going on, or like a little weight circuit routine going on that I do at the end of the day. I do a little bit of like kind of explosive weight training, which just involves like various types of lifting, which works my upper body. The weights aren't terribly heavy, but I try and keep it explosive because I like my drumming to be very quick and reactive. If I've got like something over here and I want to be able to move my stick across the kit very quickly, then for me doing explosive weights training really helps that, and it helps just keep my upper body strong. Okay, so I like to do that. I also like to do a little bit of planking, which is where you sort of lie horizontally like this on the floor and you try and hold that movement, and that's really good for your core. And I like to do sit-ups as well, so that's kind of my routine that I do at the end of the day in terms of like weights training. And finally, the fourth one is, it's all up here for me, so I try and keep a good mental attitude. PMA, positive mental attitude, I work really hard on just trying to keep myself loving life and loving drums. Alright, I've been playing for 15 to 16 years and I still absolutely love it. So for me it's about trying to stay happy and strong in your head. Just keeps me healthy and keeps me fit for wanting to drum. Okay, the last part of your question, you said what's my favourite food? This is absolutely contradictory to everything I just said. I love chocolate. I'm an absolute chocolate fiend. If you offer me a range of desserts and there's a chocolate one and there's a couple of other random ones, I will always go chocolate. Alright, next question. Got a couple left, guys. Here we go. George, he asks us, can you show us a stick trick? Absolutely. And he also asks, where is your favourite place to surf? Because George knows that I like to surf. But let's answer the first one. A stick trick. Okay, I'm actually going to show you this. Is like really simple. I do it all the time in my YouTube videos. And it's definitely a fake stick twirl, okay? Fake meaning I don't really let go of the stick. I'm always in control and I always have a grip on the stick. So it's really simple. You guys can try this at home. First of all, always maintain what's known as the fulcrum grip. I never actually let go of that. That's why I don't let go of the stick. And I literally just spin it from the outside of my body and then just round like that. Okay, let's just check the angle on that so it looks good. Just gonna check on my iPhone, make sure you guys have got a good view. About there. There we go. So it's a completely fake twirl. You'll see me doing it all the time in the videos, and it's so low risk. I don't think I've ever dropped it by doing this. Okay, so it's a really cool, quick little flair to your drumming, and it seems to work quite well if you want to keep a pattern going and just spin your stick in time to the music. Okay, excellent. That's my stick trick for you guys. The second part of his question: where's your favourite place to surf? I normally, if I'm in the UK, I normally go surfing in Newquay because I have friends down there. It's just a really nice place to go in the summer. I like surfing in Newquay. But if we're looking for something really extreme, last November in 2014, I went to the Philippines for the first time. And we went to this very surf-focused island called Siargao. And it was just absolutely stunning. The waves were great. There's lots of different like skill levels to the waves, so you could like pick and choose. And yeah, just like it was just an incredible place to surf. I totally got a sunburn, but it was so worth it. So thanks, George. Thanks for that question. All right. William asks, what age did I begin drumming, and what's your worst experience at a gig? All right. I began, I think I was in year 8, so I would have been between 11 and 12. And I'm 27 now, so I've been roughly playing for 15, almost 16 years. What's the worst experience at a gig? I'm going to assume you mean a gig of my own where I'm actually playing. So I remember this is a rookie mistake, but I made it. So always, if you're going to have a long set, if you're going to play a gig where you're on stage for 45 minutes to an hour, if not longer. I always recommend going to the toilet first. I remember a gig I did, just a standard pub gig. It was our second set, so I'd already had a break. I already had a chance to go to the toilet, but I didn't. I started the second set, and I just was busting for a wee the whole gig. And it was so uncomfortable because as a drummer, you're sat down, you can't move. When you need a pee, you want to be able to move unless you can actually go to the toilet. Yeah, I just remember that being an absolute nightmare. So if you're going to do a big gig, go to the toilet. That's so unglamorous, but there you go. Go to the toilet, be comfortable for the actual gig. Good, let's check out some others. So, okay, got a few more for you guys. Carrie asks, who is your hero? Or heroes, plural. What's the best advice you can give to an aspiring drummer? Okay, so who is my hero? My number one guy is Jose Pasillas from Incubus. I already talked about him with Morning View. Yeah, he's just like, I just like his style. I like the way, I like his image. I like the drum patterns he plays. I like the way he has his drum kit set up. I like the cymbals he uses. There's just quite a lot of things about Jose Pasillas that I really, really like. And he's a very creative guy as well. He's an artist. He's really into his fashion. So for me, he's a very good all-round drummer to have a hero. And maybe going back a little further, I'm a huge fan of Stuart Copeland from The Police. Stuart Copeland was known for just being completely innovative with certain types of drum beats. He was very good at fusing reggae with punk rock, and it definitely shows. He had very twisted back-to-front grooves on some Police tracks. One minute he'd be playing this sort of distorted groove, the next minute he'd be like driving it punk rock style. So I really like Stuart Copeland just for his sheer energy and charisma behind the drums. And he also plays with lots of little splash cymbals, which are the tiny ones, and I just absolutely love that. Same with Jose Pasillas, just really like his splash cymbals. So they're my two big drummers. I've got a couple of like new heroes though, for sure. There's loads of like new drummers on the circuit that I'm absolutely loving right now. I really like Luke Holland, and I study him quite a lot with other students. I really like Matt Maguire from Australia. Matt Maguire, I think he's from Brisbane. He's just, I don't know, he's fast, he's heavy, and he's young, you know, he's doing really, really well at the moment. And finally, I really like Anna Canilles from Germany. I think it's Germany. Anna Canilles. She was my number one drummer of 2014. She's just absolutely fantastic with just great drum licks. She just, you know, from a drumming point of view, she just gets it right for me every time. So go and check out a couple of those drummers. What's the best advice you can give to aspiring drummers? I guess I have to dish out this all the time for my students because I have a lot of you, and I want to keep you guys inspired. My best advice, I'm going to give you a couple of tips. The first one, which is how I feel about it, is just love the drums. Just like never lose that kind of childlike just love for the instrument. You could walk me into a drum shop now, you could walk me into a drum shop in 30 years time, and I'll feel like a little kid walking into a candy shop. So just try and make it fun. Try and like just love the instrument, you know, don't worry about anything, just play because you like it. And my next one is keep it fun. Music's meant to be creative and expressive, and I think for me personally, that kind of stuff happens when you're having fun and you're happy and you're not annoyed and you're not down. It usually happens when you're happy and you're kind of really in the zone and want to learn. So for me, just try and stay happy. If you're sat at the drum kit and you're practicing, just do it for fun. Just keep it repeating and just do it because you love it. Last bit of advice for that then is try and understand what you want from the drums. So I always wanted to be in a band, so I got in a band straight away, and the rest is history. I've always been in a band. I also thought it'd be nice to be a drum teacher when I was at university, so I tried to be a drum teacher. I set myself up a website, I advertised on Google, and I started getting pupils. So I wanted to be a drum teacher, I went out and did it. The point of that last one was, if you want to be something, just go and grab it. I've got loads of like drum students who do ask, you know, what can they do with drumming? and it can be what you want. You just got to go and get it. If you want to be in a band, go and pester your friends to learn an instrument and set up a band with them. Alright, that's definitely my best advice. You know, just be happy and respect the people around you, and just try and be the best you can. Easy peasy. Last question then, guys, because it's been a lot of fun. Let's see. Last 2 questions, I'm lying. Here we go. Ed would like to ask, what tips do you have for live performance, i.e. stage presence and working the crowd? What tips do I have for live performance? Okay. First of all, just be really prepared. Hate doing a gig where I have no idea what I'm doing. Never happens. I'm always really prepared for a gig, so that's an easy one. When it comes to stage presence then, it really depends on like the context. If you've got a particular song where maybe the drumming's a little bit more simple, then I would try and encourage you to like play up your movements. So if you're laying down a pretty square beat, pretty standard groove, just try and like open up your body language. You know, how many times have you seen a drummer who's just sat in his own world, kind of looking down, and he looks like he doesn't want to be there? That's bad in my opinion. I think if you want stage presence, then you have to get your body language right. You want to be sitting up straight, trying to make some eye contact with the crowd, generally trying to look happy in the face, and just trying to play up your movements, okay? And that really does depend on the context, because of course if you're playing a ballad or a sad song, you don't want to be there smiling. It kind of gets the emotion wrong on the track. But in general, for me, it's all body language, so try and improve the way you actually look when you drum. And that can just be as simple as drumming in front of a mirror. And try not to be too vain, but just sit in front of a mirror to see what you look like, and just think, would the crowd like to watch you drum? In terms of working the crowd, again, it depends on the context of the track. A particular song might have an opportunity where you can kind of drop just into some kind of like fall to the floor style. The front man can get the crowd clapping, and it's just some kind of little break where you get a chance to interact with the crowd. So for me, it's working the crowd is about trying to get the crowd to come into your world, get them to sort of understand what you're trying to do on stage. It could be anything like, let me think. You're trying to basically sell them your gig. You know, you want them to believe in what you're doing. So if there's a particular track where there's a chance for a little bit of participation that kind of draws them into your world, then do that. Do it. Just try and interact with them. Alright? Hope that answers that question. Finally then, this is the last question. Simon would like to ask, are you planning to gig with In Darklight in the Newbury area this year? So I play in a band called In Darklight. We're an alt-rock band who are working on an album at the moment. So Simon, to answer your question, I'm pretty sure by the time the album drops, which will be in the summer of 2015, I'm pretty sure that we will attack Newbury at least once, or if not twice, this year. So if you guys want to keep up with my band that I play in Darklight, just simply go to, it's going to come up on the screen, indarklight.com. We also have a Facebook page as well, where you get to see where we're playing and when. Let's see. Simon's second question: which size and type of drumstick do you prefer? I use Vic Firth 5A purely because they were supplied with the kit, but I have no idea if they suit my size, style or genre. Any advice please? Okay, this is an easy one for me because I've always used the same sticks for like 15-16 years, and they've just literally become an extension of my body. I absolutely love ProMark Shirakashi oak sticks. They're called PW5AW sticks, and I've used them for a really long time. For me, they're a very neutral stick. When I'm practicing, I like to sort of cross genres when I'm playing, and I want a stick that's like incredibly versatile. So if I want to play heavy, then the stick will have all the weight that I need. If I want to play softer stuff like jazz or some Latin or world styles, then the stick works with those as well, because they're not overly light and they're not overly heavy. They're just right. They're very neutral sticks. So I would recommend you go and try out these ProMark sticks. Other than that, my advice is simply to go to a drum shop for a few hours, pick out a variety of sticks, just pick out like 10 sticks the shop might have, go into their practice room and just start playing with them. Just see if you can find a stick that responds well to you, because I'm preaching that you should buy the ProMark ones, but in actual fact, you've got to find a stick that's correct for your body, and humans are all different. We all have different physiques and different strength abilities and whatnot. We need to find a stick that complements that. So my advice is to go to a music shop, pick out a couple of pairs, maybe buy 5 pairs of drumsticks, and just experiment and live with them for a little bit and seeing what stick feels good for you. For me, these ProMark ones were the one with the least compromise, so they just happened to work really well for me without compromising too much. But I'm sure a heavier stick will give me a bigger groove, and I'm sure a lighter stick will allow me to play faster. So just try and find a stick that works all round for you, or buy a couple of sticks, you know, and just, you know, enjoy the fact that you are getting to play with different styles of sticks. It's like exercising with different clothes on, you know, not all clothes wear the same. So one time in it's the summer, you might be wearing a vest, which is very easy to exercise in, and then when it's the winter, you might be wearing like 3 coats, which is a lot harder to exercise in. So the point is, try and have a variety, and it will just make you a great all-round drummer. Okay guys, that's enough questions for now. I hope you have enjoyed a little bit of insight and advice in today's Q&A. I'll definitely do it again, so I'm hopefully well, we'll try and get one done in the summer, and I'll see you guys very soon. Got lots of cool YouTube drum covers coming up soon, so thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you very soon.